Hey everyone, it's Kevin, and in today's video, I'm going to show you how to stop emotional eating. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button so you never miss a video, and if you want to speak with me, there is a link below. Start your YouTube channel and start producing content today. Check out the Creative Business Academy by Essetino Artist. There is also a link below. How do you stop emotional eating? I have nothing to do. Emotional eating is one of those topics that comes up over and over because a lot of times our emotions can be really powerful and they can make us eat things that we didn't plan to eat. Ideally, we would eat solely based off hunger and once in a while based on entertainment, but we don't want our emotions to control us. We want to be in control of our emotions, or at least we don't want our emotions to make us do unhealthy things and engage in unhealthy behavior. However, I don't think emotions can account for all of the bad eating habits that you have. Even if you have stress, anxiety, boredom, loneliness in your life, that doesn't mean that you are going to overeat. It doesn't mean that you're going to eat at night. It doesn't mean that you're going to compulsively eat. So in this video, I want to talk about emotional eating, but I also want to talk about other factors that can make you overeat or even binge eat sometimes. When it comes to eating right, emotions matter less than you think. Everybody gets emotions. Everybody gets stressed sometimes, especially now. Everybody's anxious, people get bored, people get lonely. These are natural emotions to feel. And I think part of being an adult is learning to deal with these emotions in an empowered and healthy way. You cannot avoid these emotions. You cannot wish them away. You cannot wish that they disappear. You're going to have to confront these emotions sooner rather than later. Reaching into a bag of chips, eating ice cream at night, those are not going to help you. They're only going to exacerbate the emotions that you're already feeling. Food is often just a quick fix. In fact, it's the most legal drug in the world because it allows us to feel good temporarily, but then we feel worse than we were when we started. So we have this initial surge in positive emotions and then we crash. So let me ask you this, which emotions compel you to overeat the most? Let me know in the comments below. You cannot be positive and happy all the time. I think this is a problem in the coaching world. I think it's a problem in the among speakers, among consultants, among a lot of online entrepreneurs who are selling this message that you need to be happy all the time. Everything is good. Everything is positive. Not exactly. I think sometimes bad things happen and you're going to have to deal with it. Nobody was expecting a global pandemic. Nobody was expecting a lockdown. Nobody was expecting any of this. Is it a good thing? Probably not. There will be some good outcomes, but we're going to have to deal with it the best that we can. And we don't want to engage in unhealthy behaviors that only make us feel better in the moment and then make us feel worse later. If you're not happy and cheerful all the time, that's okay. It's a natural part of life. You have to have the ups, you have to have the downs. That is life. And the truth is, even if you were positive and happy all the time, you could use any emotion that you want to justify overeating. I remember overeating and binge eating when I was happy, when I was sad, when I was anxious, when I was stressed out, when I had a lot of free time, when I had little free time. It really didn't matter. It didn't matter what my emotional state was. I could still overeat or binge eat. I always had some compelling reason to do it. And that leads me to my next really important point, is that emotions cannot explain all overeating and all binge eating, and they can't explain eating disorders. Now, eating disorders are not a disease. It doesn't mean that your brain is broken, but it also doesn't indicate that you have an emotional eating problem. Not everybody has an emotional eating problem. I think a lot of times bad eating habits arise when we go on restrictive diets, when we deny ourselves the nutrients that we need, when we engage in really abnormal behaviors like cutting up all your food or eating it really slowly or meticulously counting all your calories or weighing everything that you eat. All of these behaviors can contribute to overeating, binge eating, chewing and spitting later down the line. I realized after many years that I would binge under any circumstances and under any emotional state. It didn't matter what my emotions were. It didn't matter what my circumstances were. That's what eventually convinced me that I didn't have an emotional eating problem. I didn't need to soothe myself with other activities. I didn't need to distract myself. I didn't need to have more self-esteem. I remember buying an ebook back in 12 or 13 and it was How to Stop Binge Eating. It was one of those old PDF ebooks. I don't even think they make those anymore. We have better media now. But the premise of the book was she was binge eating and then she saw a therapist who told her to improve her self-esteem and now she stopped. It was ridiculous. Obviously, it didn't help me because I don't think I had a self-esteem problem. I didn't have a body image problem. I didn't like the way I looked, but I got there through specific actions. So something else had to be driving my behavior. And that's when I realized that I had conditioned my brain to binge, restrict, binge, restrict. I had done that so many times that it was natural. It was the natural thing to do. My brain was used to doing that. So I would be good for 1 or 2 days, and then I would get this irresistible craving for certain foods, or I would start eating and then I couldn't stop. It was all habit. In other words, my problem wasn't emotional, it was neurological. I had created new pathways and new behaviors in my brain. I did it through my own choice. I did it through my own decisions. It was not imposed on me, and I took responsibility for the problem. That's not to say that certain emotions couldn't contribute to overeating. I think one of my emotions was fear. I was always thinking, what am I going to do without all this food? How am I going to live without all of it? How am I going to cope? What am I going to do without that late night binge? What am I going to do with my free time? What goals am I going to have in life? What problem am I going to solve? I needed some challenge in my life, and my eating disorder provided that challenge. It was this insurmountable obstacle. It was what gave meaning to my life in a way. And I was thinking, what was I going to do after that? So how do you deal with these negative emotions or these uncomfortable feelings in an empowered way? One thing I like to teach my clients is to sit still, even if it's just 5 minutes. We have this compulsion in modern society to always be doing something. We always have to check our phone, check our tablet, check our laptop, or email, or social media. There's always something. There's always some stimulus. And I think one way to stop that is to deny yourself stimuli for just a few minutes a day. I think 10, 15, 20, or 30 minutes would be much more ideal. You don't have to be a Tibetan monk to sit still and be silent. That's not what I'm talking about. But withdrawing from the world for a few minutes a day and giving your brain a mental break, I think is really useful. Learning to sit still and not move your hands and focus on your breathing, it's really powerful. It seems so simple, but it is. Because when we are constantly doing things compulsively and we're always responding to these cues and these stimuli, it definitely affects the way that we eat. It affects some more than others, but it definitely has an effect on our eating habits and on our behavior. So during the day, just think, how many times are you responding to a ding or a bell or a notification? Be conscious of what you're doing. I think a lot of times it's habit, not emotions, that drives overeating and binge eating. All it takes is one thought, one reason, one trigger, or one cue to make you overeat or binge eat. You don't have to have a certain emotion. You don't have to be in a certain emotional state. And this is the whole point of this video, is that emotions cannot explain everything. And not everybody who has an ED has an emotional eating problem. Some do, but not everybody. If you have an ED, or if you have some bad eating habits and you want to work with somebody like me or somebody else to fix it, that's great. But you need to focus on more than emotions, because something other than emotions could be driving that behavior. It might not be loneliness. It might not be self-esteem. You might not have a body image problem. You might have this habit that you've created. You've gone on a diet and you've denied yourself nutrients so many times that every time you eat, your brain thinks it's literally the last time you're going to eat. And many times that's true, because that's what you do. You start a diet, or you fast for 3 or 4 days, or you go on a lemon water diet or some detox program, and you have taught your brain that every meal is the last meal. Sometimes if you're overeating or you're binge eating, that means that it is about the food. It is neurological. There is no emotional basis for it. It doesn't matter what your emotional state is. It doesn't matter what your self-esteem is. It doesn't matter what your circumstances in life are. All of that could be perfect, and you could still have an ED. You could still be overeating. You could still be eating at night. I'm saying that it's habit, not emotions, that accounts for a lot of eating disorders. So let's summarize. What are the key points of this video? Emotions can't account for all of the bad behavior or all the bad eating habits. Not everybody has an emotional eating problem. I think a lot of times it is a conditioned response, it's habit, and it has a neurological explanation. If you do have an emotional eating problem, then figure out which emotions are compelling you to overeat, whether it's fear, stress, anxiety, boredom, loneliness, whatever. It could be any one of those. which one of those emotions is driving the behavior, and then identify it, and then try to find constructive ways to deal with it. One of the best ways to deal with it is by sitting still. I challenge you today to sit still for 5 minutes. Don't look at anything and don't move your hands. No audio, no visual, nothing. Hope you found this video educational and entertaining. If you did, hit the subscribe button so you never miss a video. And don't forget to click the link below to speak with me. Start your YouTube channel and start producing content today. Check out the Creative Business Academy by Essetino Artists. If you like this video, I'm sure you'll like one of the other videos that you see on the screen. Click one of them and I'll see you there.